Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Zelda Universe. My name is Alex, and I am joined by a very special guest. I am with Joe Zieja, the voice of Raphica from Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. Joe, welcome to the channel.
Hey Alex, thanks for having me, man. It's you and I have known each other for a long time now, so it's finally get to work to each other. It's good to work with each other in like a slightly different professional capacity.
It's finally come full circle. I
Yeah,
got
pretty
to
cool.
interview. I got to interview you.
Yeah.
So, Joe, first off, I might be moving things around a little bit, question-wise, but we all want to know what's it like to finally be in a Zelda game. Finally.
It's pretty cool, man. I mean, like, we're freelancers, right? So we're always looking gig to gig to gig to gig to gig. And sometimes um, we go through a job and we kind of just come out the other side. We fire and forget quite a bit. Uh, but this one was really cool to be able to be in the booth and see the game sort of like as it's developed. You're always looking at the behind the scenes stuff in the booth. You're looking at video that like hasn't fully been rendered, and you're watching it kind of come together in a way that isn't always accessible even to voice actors. A lot of times they bring us in afterwards, and like we don't really get to see things are going on as they're going on. But with this particular project, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed working with the director and the creative team. There was always somebody from Nintendo on with me, and there was a director, and like it was really neat to be like saying words like Hyrule, right, in a booth, having grown up with the series. So it was a really unique, awesome experience.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that you got the opportunity to do that with all these people that work within Nintendo. That's a life goal, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad they haven't like hated me enough in the past projects where they can put me back.
Oh, I wonder what characters.
Yeah, right.
So, just let's backpedal a little bit, and I
Sure.
want everyone here at the Zelda community to get a better idea of who you are, your voice acting career, just a brief rundown of who you are.
I did not break into voice acting like anybody else that I really know, for a bunch of different reasons. In that, like, I have no acting background. I've been a full time voice actor for about 12 years now. I've done nothing else. And it all kind of started way back when I was on reserve duty. I'm an ex Air Force intelligence officer. I worked for the government. Um, Intelligence analysis was my job. And that was like, counterterrorism and counterintelligence and all that analytical stuff was my job. Had nothing to do with acting. And then happened to be speaking with a friend of mine and mentioned that voice acting had kind of been on my radar in a way that, like, wouldn't it be neat if? Really no desire or need or like plans to go to acting school or anything like that. And that particular friend said, "Well, my company used to hire these marketing voiceovers for marketing out of this website. Why don't you give it a shot?" And I had some hobbyist microphone stuff from being a musician. I kind of understood a little bit about sound, by no means professional. Cut my first audition and booked it like immediately, like within a day. And I went, well, that was really interesting. How can I do more of that? And so once I sort of understood that voice acting was an actual career, because at that point, this is 2013 now, I had no idea. I just went full throttle and I started auditioning for absolutely everything I could find everywhere. Sometimes cranking out like 80 different auditions a day for different projects that I could find all over the internet on casting websites or direct marketing or whatever. And it snowballed so fast. And also, like, having a stable government job made it so that any money I made voice acting, I called it monopoly money because it was just fake. It was just extra stuff and I could throw it back in my studio. It doesn't take a lot of money to build a professional studio. So like right away, I had, the top of the line mic that I needed. I had some space treatment. And then within 8 months, basically, I told my employer, like, hey, look, I'm out earning you. And working two jobs is extremely stressful. I just had my first kid. I can't do this. Do you want me to go part-time or do you want me to quit? Because I have to do one. And they let me go part-time, which for a government job is pretty weird. So I'm always grateful to that employer for being like, well, let's help you phase out into this strange, unstable career field that I've never heard of over the next 8 months. So over the next 8 months, I basically slowly dropped my hours until I completely quit my job in 2014. And then the decision, I'm in Virginia at this point, not anywhere near Los Angeles, have a healthy, stable voice acting career. And I'm like, well, what do I want to do next? And at that point, I found a manager who basically said, look, with what you want to do, if you want to hunt bigger work and you're specifically interested in video games, anime, and animation, you need to get to LA. Now, this is 2015, before COVID and the rise of remote recording, although I've always been remote recording. So I moved to LA. I got here in 2015. It just celebrated my 10-year LA anniversary. And ever since then, it's been absolute chaos. Working all the time, and the privilege to work in a lot of different projects, a lot of different companies. And it's been a crazy, great, wild ride. And I've loved every second of it.
That's great. Well, I know for a fact that Zelda isn't your first avenue when it comes to voicing Nintendo characters. Do you want to dive a little bit into that history?
Believe it or not, the first time I ever worked for Nintendo was not Fire Emblem either. The first time I worked for Nintendo was actually in the Star Fox animated short, which happened in 2016. Sort of like random story, didn't know what I was auditioning for. They didn't call it a voice match. It was just like, here's the vibe we're going for. I didn't recognize any of the voice files that they had sent, despite being like a Star Fox fan and player.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that something big was happening until I got my NDA. And the NDA said Nintendo of America. And I went, what? I wrote back to the person who cast me, and I can't remember who that was. I was like, what? What is this? And who am I? And they're like, oh, you're Fox McCloud. And I actually jumped off the couch and I yelled, I'm Fox McCloud. I'm Fox McCloud. And so that was pretty cool. So that was my first run-in with Nintendo.
That's exciting. Just look where you are now. I thought that's just
It's
exciting.
pretty neat. It was probably like maybe 6 months after I got to LA.
That's very quick.
It happened fast.
That's awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into some Zelda related questions for you. So
Great.
you voiced the Rito chief slash stage Raphica. A lot of us are curious, like, what was the process like for you, and maybe even the director, like to find the voice that fits Raphica altogether?
One of the things that I teach my students all the time is sort of a counter to that question, which is it's not about the voice.
Mm.
It's about figuring out who that character is and the context in which they live, right? So as a Rito, he had some military background. He was, relatively stoic, but also, no pun intended, you couldn't ruffle him, right? Like that, he was very cool and calm under pressure. A sense of duty, but a good sense of humor, right? He had some funny moments throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
With Calamo and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that lends itself to a certain kind of interpretation. So there was never a point of like, well, do I make my voice deeper? Do I make it wasn't really quite like that. Those questions come into play, but it was about finding who he was first. And it just sort of ended up being like, as most of the jobs that I've ever done in my life as a voice actor, mostly my voice with some notable consistency differences in the way that like I interpret things, just always being a little bit more relaxed but precise,
I know, because the moment I heard your voice coming out of Raphica, I thought, hold on a second, an archer, a leader. What does this sound like to me?
Yeah, it's really interesting. But if you listen to Claude and Raphica side by side, you can very clearly tell that they're different people.
Of course.
Even though they share so many of the same traits. And that could be seen like for us as humans, right? There's many of us we tend to gather in groups of people who have similar outlooks, similar interests, similar backgrounds, but we all sound quite different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's kind of the journey there.
That's awesome. I just like making those nice little connections, just like, oh, this sounds just like this character because you voiced that actual character before, and I'm like, oh.
Yes, I think it's the third Nintendo Archer I've voiced.
Who's
I think
the
the other
one?
one was Jamkey in Fire Emblem Heroes.
I
think he was an archer. That was a long time ago.
While you were voicing Raphica, was there a favorite line or scene you enjoyed recording?
anytime I was hanging out with Calamo was a good time. Those were really fun. Their banter was great. Sungwon did a fantastic job with that character and delivered it in a way that was so, I felt, counter to the way that the like those characters have been perceived in the Zelda universe in the past.
Mhm.
So it was neat. It was neat. It was a new and different take, and it was fun to play off. Anything with Calamo was just great.
For sure, for sure. Uh, just to backpedal just a little bit about finding the voice for Ravnica, were there any particular characters you took inspiration from while developing the voice, or was just based on what you were given about the characters, like background?
I can't say that I was given to any interpretation um, or given any references. I did have the Japanese reference to go off of, but most of the time, and including this, it's never about like, hey, we want you to match the Japanese reference. Most of the time, when you hear a Japanese reference, someone's already done the work of like interpreting this scene in a way, and we want to make sure that like we're matching that across language barriers, especially when it's not to picture, when it's not to a cutscene, when you just have words on a page. And the question is like, oh, well, what's the context here? Let me listen to the Japanese voice. Oh, he's yelling, right? Like, okay, all right, so that person is far away, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's never about like, well, the Japanese voice has this quality to it. Make that quality.
空の敵は少々厄介だが、そっちは俺たちリト族が。ん
The enemies in the sky will be a nuisance, but my Rito can handle that.
It's really more of an organic experience, which is pretty typical.
For sure, for sure. And just out of curiosity, were there any lines that you happened to improvise or done on the spot, just in the moment?
You know, we do these things for like, I think maybe I spent almost 20 to 25 hours in the booth for Raphica, right? And so I don't recall any times where I improvised something specific. Like I know it happened and I remember the conversations. And I think it's always important and indicative of what a good localization team is when you engage in a collaborative experience to create that character. So when I look at a line and I go, this doesn't feel very Raphica, will you allow me to do XYZ with it? And they go, sure. That's a wonderful partnership to making these characters come to life. And I find that any time where I'm allowed that room to play, we get better performances.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, that's great. So, just to get into some fun questions here, you're pretty notorious for cosplaying your characters. What's it gonna take to get you to cosplay Ravnica in some degree?
I think, first of all, it's going to take me about 2 years to grow the hair out so that I can make the little, what's the hairdo called? There's a name for it.
The
Not,
braid?
it's not, it was
Oh,
also great.
the
Also
pompadour.
got, like the pompadour. Thank you.
Yes, the pompadour.
Got like a pompadour on the front. That'll take a lot of time and social capital where I have to walk around with pompadour ready hair that I don't know if I'm ready to spend. I've never cosplayed a non-human character.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting.
It's the
I don't know.
first time for everything.
It's
I'd
the
say.
first time for everything. I wouldn't say like I can't imagine hating the process. So
Sure. Just a lot more maintenance than a normal humanoid character or
And
human
feathers.
character. Yeah.
right.
You're in a Zelda game, but important question. Do you have a favorite Zelda game and a favorite Zelda character?
So it's really interesting. If you know anything about my background, like music was a first love, and I'm actually currently a sitting judge at Overclocked Remix, which takes a lot of video game music and reimagines it and publishes it and promotes the art of video game music. I love OCR and I love my time there. And it's so interesting that I was on a hike just last week and out of nowhere began whistling a theme that I think is from the Game Boy Zelda, which is, oh my God, help me out here, Alex. Which is the one that was on the original Game Boy?
The Link's Awakening?
Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
I think I was whistling. I was like, it just popped into my head out of nowhere, and I sat there and was thinking about that game just last week and how much I just adored it as a kid.
Yeah.
I haven't played it since. Not sure if it would like hold up. But I think it's a hard toss-up for me between Link's Awakening, A Link to the Past, and Ocarina of Time,
Ooh.
right? Like those are three really different Zelda games, that each have a different meaning to me as a gamer, as a kid, as a young adult. It would be tough to choose between the three,
Sure.
but forced to do it, I would probably pick Link to the Past.
Ooh.
Um,
Okay.
the Super Nintendo one. I think it hit that sweet spot in me of like right in like the years where I was developing my love for games and storytelling, and like that era was just peak developmentally for me, so it tends to stick.
Very nice. What about your favorite Zelda character? Do you have one?
Huh. I'm always like bizarrely endeared to Navi.
Oh,
Like Navi has like no real substance as a character except to point out stuff for you and be like the avatar of the player.
okay.
But like I don't know. I really
Sure.
like Navi, and
Okay.
the like, hey, listen, is always gonna be super iconic. If for no other reason that Navi kind of sticks in my head. I'd have to like bring up like a library of all the characters I've experienced
Sure.
as, because there are just some great ones. The one who quotes like Macbeth, it's in Link to the Past where she's stirring the double double toil and trouble, like the witch.
Oh,
I
I
think
think
that's a great character.
that's a good one.
There's just so many. There's so
Sure.
many.
Oh yeah, there's so many, so many. But good pick, good pick. Whether as an actor or you as a person, what in the past 10 years have you been the most proud of, and what do you want to accomplish in the next 10 years in the future?
I was talking with somebody who was 35 years old. I'm 40. I was talking with someone who's 35 and thinking about like how much crap has happened in the last 5 years of my life. And so like broadening it to 10 years, I have no idea. 10 years ago, I had just gotten to LA, but I will say, you know, if I'm going to keep it a little bit more like fan oriented and career oriented, there's been a couple of communities that have sprung up around me that I'm very proud of. One of them is the Twitch community, which I don't I don't engage with too much anymore, just because life consumed me. But what a great group of fans that coalesced around that Twitch channel, which you're very familiar with. And the second is the community that is sprung up around my voice acting school, learnvoiceacting.com. Those two communities have really been positive forces wherever they go. And, you know, fandom has a bad rap in a lot of different ways, but I've found that those two communities, not that learnvoiceacting.com is a fandom, but, you know, communities in and of themselves,
Yeah.
I, I've been really proud that the environment that I have crafted attracts that kind of person who is kind, who shows up for other people. There's been so many times in both of those communities where, you know, someone is in trouble and like people rush to help and people rush to be there and give space. And it's been really cool to see those living, breathing communities grow without me. And I think making those is something that I'm really proud of.
Very nice.
As far as the next 10 years,
Mhm.
gosh, I don't know. I think in general, when you get to a certain age, you want to hustle a little bit less and you want to invest a little bit more. So I think I'd like the next 2 years to be a little bit less busy and a little bit more involved at like a deeper level
Yeah.
with you know, people and communities, family and friends, colleagues, and just like exist a little bit more in relation and a little bit less in achievement. Do you know what I mean? Like focus a little bit less on like what I can do
Yeah.
and focus a little bit more on who I can do it with. If
Yeah,
that makes
for
sense.
sure. Yeah, for sure. I definitely got the involved part. I think that's very valuable to have with
Mhm.
yourself and people around you. That's very, very admirable. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, cool.
Alrighty. Well, Joe, thank you again for spending this time with us. Where can we all find you on the internet?
It's hard to miss like the name Joe Zieja out there. Like there's really like it's there's just not that many of us. So pretty much anywhere you type that name in, you're gonna find me. If you're interested in learning about voice acting, again, not at all hard to find, learnvoiceacting.com is where I have my online school, which has lots and lots of different programs, no matter your skill level. My goal there is to empower voice actors and not gatekeep them. So it doesn't matter where you are, lots out there for different people at different levels, no matter where you are.
For sure. And then where are you on Twitter, Facebook, all that places?
I'm on pretty much everything that's out there: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. LearnVoiceActing.com has its own YouTube channel.
Awesome. Well, Joe, thank you again for hanging out with us today. And if y'all enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment below, and go check out Joe, his awesome voice acting academy website. That's all there. And we'll see you next time. Have a good
Thanks,
one.
guys. Thanks for having me.
See ya.